My name is Joe. 20 years ago, my wife and I moved to Lake County with our 4 young children and settled down. In that time, we've worked, worshiped, played, and raised our family. Today, I've met the people and discovered the businesses and organizations that make up a vibrant, dynamic community. Join us as we share with you what makes South Lake great. I'm Joe, and Joe knows South Lake.
Welcome, and happy Monday. Oh man, I am so glad to be here this morning. It's a little cloudy. That's kind of, I actually saw a news report this morning. It said that while the rest of the nation may be experiencing cooler than normal weather this time of year, Florida, of course, is not. So it's going to be hot and rainy. I hope you're staying safe. I know you're stuck in the house, and rainy days are hard because you can't even get outside. So you know what? I'm going to suggest something. Take proper precautions. Go for a walk in the rain today. That should make you feel better. At the very least, it's a lark. All right, so what are we going to do today? Well, gratitude check. You know what I am so grateful for? I am grateful for the ability to adjust. I know I say it over and over again, but you know, the fact that I live in the United States of America, man, I was saying to my wife, you know, some of our enemies, I mean our big enemies, the North Koreas and the Irans and even the Chinas, you know, we adjusted to produce. As a country, we came together, we shut down, and then we got together in our industrial base to produce protective equipment. Our supply chain is changing already. People said when this started, that'd take 18 months, a year. You wouldn't be able to retool industries and factories for 9 months. They were done in 3 to 5. Look, if you're one of our enemies, you're going to be sitting there going, we can't start no trouble with them. What if they had a real reason to change? What if they had to change all of their industry to fight us? You know, this is something people don't think. This is the way Joe's brain works. I'm grateful we live in a nation that is so blessed that we can do that sort of thing, that we have the ability to come together to protect our freedoms, our lives, our liberty, our health, our wealth, and it's all because God bless America. You know, sometimes we say that, I think, and we don't really think it through, but I am grateful today because God blesses America. All right, that's my gratitude check. Look, if you are not doing a gratitude check with me, write something down every single day that you're grateful for. It will help you start the day far, far better. The deal of the day, actually, our guest today is Alicia Kaye from Try Organizing, an organizing, decluttering, staging company. She's actually got a great story, former professional athlete. We're going to talk to her, but she is bringing us the deal of the day. So while I would normally tell you what the deal of the day is, I'm going to wait till we have her on to talk about that. So we are going to go to commercial, and when we get back, we'll be joined by Alicia. I'll see you in just a couple of minutes.
Joe Knows South Lake would like to thank the following sponsors.
Are you tired of having drugs or alcohol ruin your life? Do you need to get off pain pills, but still maintain pain relief? My office in Tavares has programs to help you. While not covered by insurance, program fees are affordable. My name is Alan Zupkin. I'm board certified and have helped thousands of patients achieve these goals. Please call me for further information.
50 West, pre-leasing now in Claremont. A first-of-its-kind commercial development in the Southeast. Contact us today to reserve your spot in this historic development. 50 West, unique, quality, Class A. For more information on leasing, contact Ashley Punn at 407-403-4165. Karen Arlano at 407-948-0767. Or visit lease@50west.com.
Joe Knows South Lake would like to thank the following sponsors.
Oh, that's like a fluorescent light.
Yeah, that's cold light. This is the other color.
Yeah,
And here,
to
look,
get you a new ring light.
yeah, this is a new ring light. It's brand new. Look, that's too bright.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
So then there's the orange one, which is
Okay,
better than nothing.
it's a little better. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can see his screen.
is Alicia Kaye. Welcome, 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 everybody.
Thank you.
This is
so
Alicia
much.
Kaye. Please apologize for that. We're trying a new system today, and we had plenty of test calls, but sometimes you get a glitch. So I'm happy to be here. I'm glad we got it worked out. Alicia, welcome. This is Alicia Kaye, former professional athlete, and the current founder and owner of Try Organizing. And tell us what Try Organizing is, Alicia. I mean, it's so hard to describe. I know the description is kind of in the title, but tell us about Try Organizing and how you got started.
Yeah, so I always am hesitant sometimes to tell the story of how I got into this because it is a bit of a sad story, and but it evolves into a happy one. In the fall of 2017, my dad was diagnosed with an aggressive form of dementia. And just 6 months later, my mom was diagnosed with a terminal form of cancer. And through that process, they both had to downsize, one into a nursing home and the other into a smaller apartment. And through that, I was able to kind of help surround them with their most beloved items. And it was also a bit traumatic because they were downsizing for sad reasons, life-changing reasons, but also removing items from someone's life is traumatic on its own. And so it was definitely a tough time, but my mom said I did a good job and that it made it better, and that being organized really helped with a lot of different aspects of her life. And I saw how much it soothed my dad to have his most beloved items around him. So one of the last conversations I had with my mom, who passed last July, she suggested I consider this as a career. And it took me a few months after she passed, but I launched the business in October of last year, and I've been absolutely loving it. It's the most rewarding work.
Now, to say what an awesome gift from your mom.
Yes.
Right? To actually point you in a direction with her wisdom, and just to share with you the joy that you created through that. The best part of that was just your natural skills. You weren't really trying to do anything. You were just helping, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes that's when our gifts really come out and start to shine. And I do a lot of probate work through real estate, and I see this all the time, is that people are surrounded by junk, not necessarily by those things that make them happy, that give them the best memories. And it's funny that the things you come across in the drawers, sometimes you have to wonder, particularly when they're the elderly, how did they function, right? How did you find a fork? They might have one drawer that has utensils they use, and every other drawer is so jam-packed with stuff, they haven't used them in months or years. Tell us, and I want to shift. It's kind of sad, but like you said, a beautiful thing came out of it. Is Try Organizing. You've managed to help quite a few people since you started the business. Now, you were here you were on the show right after you first started. We've changed a little bit. So tell us a little bit about that. How has things progressed?
Yeah, it took off. Our community really needed someone like me to kind of come in and really compassionately guide people through the process of decluttering and also getting organized. It's not always like what you see on TV where someone comes in and says, you can only own this much, you have to give these items away. That's really traumatic. I really focus on counseling the client through understanding what their attachments are to items. And sometimes, actually a lot of times, when they understand what that emotional burden is, they give themselves permission to let that item go, because they now understand that it was just an attachment. And it really frees people up, and it's been really, really rewarding work. And I love doing decluttering work because it is life altering. It's very transformative. But I also love helping families get their pantry settled, or get their fridge organized, or get a toy room organized, and teaching kids how to have more autonomy in their home and learn how to put away their toys or how to pack their own lunches. So there's a lot of facets of being a professional organizer, and I really think it draws upon a lot of my life skills as an athlete. I had to be extremely organized to be successful as an athlete. And I also have my master's degree in counseling. So I'm able to use those counseling skills to really listen to clients and not just project what I think is going on, but listen to them, hear them out, because we have to remember our elderly were raised by Depression era parents, or they are Depression era if they're still around. And so we have to really be compassionate to that thrift mindset and understand that it's a real thing, and that when you've seen hard times, it's hard to let something perfectly good go.
You know, it's really amazing. Is in that thrift mindset didn't really change until the 60s and 70s, late 60s, early 70s. So if you have elderly that grew up in the 50s or the early 60s, you know, that idea of I can save this and use it again so I don't have to spend more money on it, things weren't made as disposable as they are today. So you could save something for 10 years and it was still usable. The other thing is so many things have become disposable. The prices have come down. So, you know, I can remember my grandfather making me straighten 10-penny nails because they were 10-penny nails. 100, you know, 10-penny nails was $1.
Yep.
You know.
Yep. Absolutely.
So where do we get to? You know, we've got the shutdown. Everybody's quote unquote sheltering in place. Yes. Where do we get started?
So it's when you're stuck at home, you might have noticed that the little things that didn't really bother you about your lack of organization are all of a sudden these bright red lights flashing at you every single day.
Because you're around it 24/7.
Exactly. And so families are literally living in it 24/7, and it's not just mom and dad or husband and wife. It's kids too. Everybody's home at the same time, so it really makes it challenging. And you might have noticed some of the areas in your home that could use some improvement. So once this all started and I realized, okay, not only are my clients stuck at home, I can't work with them, I'm stuck at home, I wanted to create a how-to series on my blog and really start to teach people about different little bite-sized organizational tasks that they can tackle at home. Because organizing is hard and it's tough to get started. How many times have you stared at a space and thought, I'm going to one of these days, and then one of these days turns into one of these years, you know, and it's really tough to get started. So I really wanted to create really small projects to get people excited about, you know, it's not going to take all day. This will take about an hour, and with product recommendations and step-by-step to really help them, guide them through the process.
Well, you know, but we have a lot of time. Some of us have a lot of time on our hands. Let's say we wanted to redo the whole house. What room should we start? What room do you think is the best room to start with?
Right now, everybody needs to be looking at their food. So fridge, freezer, pantry, and if you have a really extensive backstock. So some of my clients that I've worked with have, you know, like 5-gallon drums of rice and oats and flour and sugar and things like that. So you really need to be examining your food. First of all, you need to be going through checking expiration dates and make sure that you're not throwing food away that if you consumed it sooner, you wouldn't have to do that. So checking expiration dates, making sure, especially the freezer is a big culprit for, I know me, I've got a bag of chicken in there that I just had a hard time throwing away. It's freezer burned to heck, but I'd forgotten about it. It got buried in the back. And so really make sure as you're going shopping, you're doing that inventory style. Push those things to the front that need to get used up. Put the items at the back that you just purchased. So really going through all your foods, your spices, making sure you're using up your fresh stuff first, and just really getting that organized, because especially right now, trying to limit, you know, grocery store trips and things like that, making sure that you have a system set up so you know exactly what to buy. Put a grocery store list on your fridge, so that you're not buying duplicates of items you don't need. We want to be as efficient as possible, and you know, setting up these types of systems help you do that and save you money.
I actually have a friend that carries a picture of her spice rack. She has organized all her spices are on a spice rack. Yep. And she carries a picture of her spice rack so that when she runs out of something, she doesn't have to put that one thing down. She just looks at, she goes to the spice section, she says, okay, what am I out of? and that's easy, right?
Absolutely.
When people, and I'm sure part of the organization is people almost never actually rotate their products, right? They have a can of you said the thing about the chicken, right?
Yes.
I'm sure you bought, since you've had that in there 3 months, you probably bought chicken a dozen times.
At least.
And nobody seems to pull the old one up front and put the new one in back. And it's always been a pet peeve of mine. I had so many kids, you can get frustrated very easily when I open up the fridge or open up a cupboard and realize, why do we have 2 open bottles of mayo? Yeah. Why is there 2 half-empty bottles of ketchup? How do we decide what project is worthy? Let's say we get into and do you have a video on organizing the kitchen?
I don't, because that's a big one. So right now I've got things like your junk drawer underneath your kitchen sink and bathroom sink, setting up an activity cart for the kids. So right now I'm starting pretty small. I will eventually work up to some larger tasks, but I don't want to scare people off. So,
I think we have some pictures of what an organized. Do we have pictures of what an organized pantry and freezer should look like?
Yeah. So
Jake can bring those up for us.
Yeah. So we've got a before and after of a pantry. So this is in this particular example. This is not that bad, and wire shelving is super common in Florida, but it's difficult because things don't balance well on wire shelves. So anytime we have wire shelves, I always use bins. So in the after picture, you'll see that I incorporated all clear bins to hold all the vessels, to hold all the product inside. And so everything is labeled it's a bit difficult to see from here, but everything's labeled with waterproof paint pen. Everything has a home. So there's 4 kids in this family. So after we did this project, all the kids' items you can see on the right are in little drawers. And we did a little project with the kids where we had them pack hypothetical lunches. They got to learn about their pantry and things like that, which was great. There was a 4-year-old and he nailed it. So he pretended to pack a lunch for Disney, packed a lunch for a school. And we also did a fake grocery store run. So mom came home with bags of groceries, and we taught the kids how to help put away the groceries. Once the kids really understand where things live and that they have a home, things like 2 ketchups being open doesn't happen. It just does not happen anymore because there is going to be a routine for them to follow. And kids love the fact that there's a spot for everything. They love that there's a house for their snacks. They love that there's a house for their juices and things like that. So getting kids involved is a huge part of a pantry staying organized for sure.
I love the idea that, especially in a pantry, and you and I talked about this, in a freezer it's the same way, is that you used clear bins. Because you see these people on TV, and they use these bins you can't see through, and you're like, well, that's great, but what the heck is in it? I don't want to have to open every single one to know what's there.
Totally. And I really struggle with this in the professional organizing world because a lot of the professional organizers that have, hundreds of thousands of followers on Instagram and things like that, they use bins that are gorgeous, like they're water hyacinth or they're beautiful cloth baskets. But I don't know about you, but sometimes things leak and I don't want, like molasses inside my water hyacinth basket. And also we have to be careful in Florida because we have little critters that love kind of tree products. So I do not want to put, straw baskets in your pantry. So if you are organizing your pantry right now, stick to plastics because silverfish, I find those in pantries all the time. Silverfish love baskets. They love getting in there. And they love cardboard. Cockroaches love cardboard too. So I always use those clear bins because one, it appeases everybody's organizational style, whether you're a stuff in or a stuff out person, meaning do you like everything behind closed doors or do you want to see everything you have all at once? This satisfies both those organizational styles. Really easy to label with a water-based paint pen, wipe it off. Safe for grubby hands, easy to clean up. Absolutely love those bins. Isn't it going to get you the millions of Instagram likes? No. But does that pantry going to function? Is it going to work for that family in the long term? Is it going to remain critter free? You know, all of those things. Check, check, check. It's an absolute win, and those families love it. So
Perfect.
yeah, it's clear bins are a winner for sure.
Look, we've talked about the kitchen and the freezer. When we get back, we're going to go to commercial break. When we get back, we're going to talk about how to get the family involved and what's some of the most important things that we can talk about. Maybe how to prepare our house for sale if we're thinking of selling. So don't go away. We'll be back in just a minute.
Joe Knows South Lake would like to thank the following sponsors.
Life is better when you're smiling. At Modern Orthodontics, Dr. Alan Wong has changed thousands of lives helping patients achieve the modern smile with braces and clear aligners. Utilizing digital scanning technology, Modern Orthodontics creates in-office 3D models for clearly modern aligners. Modern Orthodontics is conveniently located in Claremont, Apopka, and Bushnell. Call or text us to schedule your free exam and create your modern smile today.
Check out these gourmet deals from Bergeron Claremont, like our daily deals. Milkshake specials. Kids eat free. That's right, kids 10 and under eat free every Monday with purchase of an adult combo. Choose from delicious protein combos like beef, chicken, lamb, fish, veggie, and even the Impossible Burger. Milkshakes are buy one get one free Monday through Friday from 2 to 5 p.m. Stop into Bergeron Claremont today to take advantage of our daily deals, like the Monday Crispy Chicken Combo, the Tuesday Falafel Combo, the Wednesday Angus Beef Combo, and the Thursday Spanish Beef Combo. Gourmet deals from Bergeron Claremont, located just off Highway 27 and the Epic Theater Shopping Plaza. Bergeron, millions of possibilities, endless combinations.
Joe Knows South Lake would like to thank the following sponsors.
And I think we're back.
Welcome back. Once again, I want to say to all my viewers, thank you for bearing with us and being patient. Again, because of COVID, we're having to try new technologies and make technologies sometimes do things they weren't exactly intended for. So thank you for your patience. All right, Alicia, I wanted to ask, you mentioned about the getting the kids in the pantry runs. How do I get the kids involved in the rest of the house? I mean, how do I get the family? How do I get, if I'm going to assume I'm a spouse with more time on my hands, or a spouse who is not necessarily the organizer. I don't know about you, but in my house, my wife is the organized one. I'm the drop it here, right? I'll get to that later. Don't mess with that pile. I know where everything is in it. How do you get the rest of the family involved?
The biggest thing to do is to communicate with everyone. So it's okay if one person organizes everything, but it's really important that that person, whoever they are, who does organize, educates the entire family on what the new system is and gets input, because what makes sense to me might not make sense to my husband, and I have to make sure that it makes sense to him so that we can maintain it. Because if it only makes sense to one person in the family, that system is just going to crumble. So that's whether, and when we talk about organizational systems, it sounds really fancy, but it's not. It could be as simple as, I'm going to put the kids' snacks at their level, so maybe on that first shelf in the pantry. And then you say, all right, hey kids, come over here. Like, we're going to talk about your new snack area. Yay, new snack area. Okay, awesome. So here's all your juice boxes on the left. And, you can kind of go through and maybe you keep the treats up high.
Well, let me ask this, because typically I don't think it's the small ones that have a hard time. You reward them and they love the approval.
Yeah.
The ones I'd think that would be the struggle is the teenagers.
Yeah.
And so I would wonder, is it necessary to make them part of the organizing process? So
Yeah,
it makes
it's
sense. I mean, if you're looking at a husband and wife trying to organize a space, you suggest they're both there?
yeah,
Because
that's
one is going to have less patience for it than the other one.
Yeah, you actually bring up a really interesting question because in most of the cases that I've helped organize someone's home, it's been younger kids. In one case, there was a teenager and they didn't participate. So it is really interesting that you bring that up. I think it's in that situation, the parent felt that the teenager was just 100% on board and was going to do it completely. But my intuition tells me that get them involved in the same way and have them take a look at it and just say, like, is there anything that doesn't work for you here? Like, this makes no sense. And don't be afraid to make edits and changes. Like, just because you set something up doesn't mean you can't move it around and make some changes based off of the feedback. Like, if you're constantly going to the wrong place for something and after like 2 weeks it's still not sticking, it might mean that it's just not the right system for you. So I think being open and comfortable with making changes, but I think regardless of the age, incorporating them in the process and getting their feedback, because if they own it, then it's way more likely to work.
And that's actually kind of taps into not just teenagers, but adults in general, right?
Yeah.
It's easier to include another adult. I find that one of the mistakes a lot of people make in dealing with their teenagers is they still treat them as kids, and while they still need guidance and protection, they're not children anymore. Mm-hmm. They might be my children, but they're not children. It wasn't too long ago that a 14 and 15-year-old were married and had their own homestead, plowing out the farm and taking care of the animals, right?
Right.
Having babies, and so I find that I've got to wonder, especially if something, and we're talking about a subject that's really important to the household. It sounds, it's funny, you watch it on HD TV, and declutter and organizing just sounds so fluff, but it's not. A clean area lends more towards intimacy in your relationships because there's not as much stuff in between. And I have found that whenever I'm trying to get a teenager to engage in something, giving them ownership, treating them like an equal, it's easy to do with an adult, right? Even though I'm late 50s, if I know somebody who's 25, well, they're an adult. I have certain expectations. I find that if I have those expectations with teenagers, we're organizing their room, they should be, I can say, well, it needs to get organized. How can we do it? You have to help me with this, right? Look, you have some tips, okay? So let's start with your 5 tips to get organized.
Absolutely. So since we're all stuck at home, the most common issue that I deal with when working with clients is too much stuff. So the first 3 tips have to deal with that. So first of all, throw away anything that is expired. Go through your food, your medications, your medicine, your spices, your pantry, your fridge, your freezer. Toss it, especially medications. If you don't know where to bring your prescriptions, go to your local CVS or your local Walgreens. There is a safe drop-off for prescriptions. If you're too nervous to go right now, just set them aside, but just make sure you're not ingesting them. Number 2 is to let go of any items you can't repair or you haven't repaired in the last year. Probably never going to do it. Any items that don't make you happy, create a negative memory, or trigger a sad memory, let them go. Get rid of any reading material that is older than 3 months old. How many of you have 20 years of National Geographics or 10 years of Sports Illustrated? Clean house. If it's not within the last 3 months, let it go.
Yeah, the world has changed. Nobody's buying, they might buy a special issue you have in there, right? But nobody's buying a whole collection. It's just not going to happen.
It's not going to happen anymore. And donating old textbooks, I'm guilty of this. I still have all my university and college textbooks, and I'm actually in the process of going through my entire bookcase and just getting rid of them. I've never referenced them. I thought I would. I didn't. That's why we have the internet, right? So,
I think everybody who's ever taken a college class and needed a hard book, you paid $100 for it. You reference it, right?
Exactly. So, and then any books that you have that you've already read and don't plan on rereading, let it go. Donate them. Identify time traps. Time traps are anything that take more of your time than it should. So I'll be honest, my email, I get sucked in and spend way too long in there. Even your regular hard mail, don't just plop it on the counter. Come up with a system that, you walk by the recycling box and throw the junk mail right in. Grocery shopping is a really common time trap. Go there with a plan. Go with a list. Stick to the list. Those are some examples. Automation and systems. Sounds fancy, not that fancy. Having a family command center with everybody's schedules on it, creating a daily schedule with things to-do lists, chore charts. If you're more high-tech, using Alexa or your Google Home to set up cues for new behaviors. So maybe some peaceful music comes on when it's time for the kids to get ready for bed. Maybe you have lights in your kids' bedrooms that are linked to Bluetooth, and Alexa automatically dims the lights for bedtime. So there's some really fun automation that you can do where when the kids go, no, I don't want to get ready for bed, you're like, I'm sorry, Alexa told you, not me.
Tell me how that works for you. I love the concept of a command center you've gone beyond now organizing my closet. You're now talking about organizing my life,
yes.
And that's a big piece of, do you do some of that as well?
Absolutely. Productivity is what I do. When we organize a space, it makes it more productive. When I simply organize a junk drawer, I might cut 2 or 3 minutes out of your day because you can find your car keys, your sunglasses, sunscreen every single time you want them. I had a woman tell me I saved 7 minutes on her morning routine by simply organizing her makeup drawer. It's all about being efficient and creating time because it's the one thing we can't buy. So when we create a command center, a calendar, it means things don't get forgotten, and it gives more autonomy to all the family members, because I'm sure there are people watching right now that maybe they're that parent that everything's on their shoulders. They have to remember everything, all the appointments, all the practices, grocery shopping, everything falls on maybe one parent's shoulders. And if they make a mistake, all of a sudden it crumbles.
Yep.
So it's about,
and then they feel guilt and shame and yep.
Exactly. So yes, productivity is the name of the game, and setting up a family command center is a huge part of that.
It's funny, you've mentioned the junk drawer, which seems like a small task, but depending on the size of our junk drawer and how long it's been since we went through it, I don't think anybody can deny the feeling of accomplishment, not just when we get it organized, but when we go to look for something and that drawer is actually, what's in it, what's there. The stuff that didn't belong there, you put where it belonged. And example from my own life, my wife and I organized a junk drawer a couple of years ago, and what we found, it was one of these really long drawers, right? So you only really saw the first 8 inches, but there was another 8 inches of drawer in the cabinet. And what we did when we cleaned it out was we must have found 20 packs of like throat lozenges and Tums and, right? Some of it we threw away. Some of it, if it wasn't open, went into a container that we kept then in the bathroom by the cold medicines, and it was perfect. So we knew where it was. When I went for a lozenge, I do believe we had some 150 pens and pencils in that drawer. Again, they needed to go to the office. No wonder I couldn't find a decent pen, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So you have 3 tips, I believe, to keep us organized. Tell us about that.
So getting organized, as we've discussed, is a lot of work, and it's really important to be able to keep it that way. So track and reward. So I'll give a personal example here. This is my habit tracker. I have 5 behaviors every month that I identify that I'm trying to work on. And so I can check every day and see how I'm making progress towards that goal. This is an adult version, but you could definitely do this with your kids. You could set up a simple chalkboard for them with magnets, and they can come over and say, yes, I helped unpack groceries today with mom and dad, and to create a reward system for when you do achieve those goals, or the fridge does stay organized, or the kids do put their toys away, because we want to encourage and solidify that behavior. The next is to filter. So you really want to create a filter for what gets allowed in your home moving forward. So, for example, as an athlete, I get stuff given to me, or I receive things all the time, whether I'm going to races and you get the, like, you know, the free t-shirt or the medal or whatever it might be. I'm really careful about what I even let in the house. And I always have a donation box in the garage and in all the bedrooms, so that anytime I put on a shirt or something, it doesn't make me feel good, I put it right in the donation box. When that box is full, it gets got to Goodwill or New Beginnings or Salvation Army, whatever charity in your community makes you feel good about donating to. And consider, especially with kids, the 1 in, 1 out rule. When you go through your kids' toys, or maybe you have an extensive shoe collection or clothing collection, and it's at capacity for space, that means if you acquire something new, kiddo gets a new toy, something's got to go. Or maybe they don't want to keep the new toy and they can just donate it. That's wonderful too. But recognize that that can be a great rule for keeping things clutter-free moving forward. And last, but I would think probably most importantly, is labeling. Labeling is so important because it's not only important to identify the home of an object, but also to make it easy for things to be found. That's what's going to save you time. And with kids, incorporating pictures, especially with their toys, is really important. And you can just do that as simply as just creating some labels on your computer and printing them out. Use some packing tape maybe to make them clear. You don't have to have fancy stuff here. Like, a lot of what's in professional organizing is super fancy and really expensive, but I always try to share tips to make it work with painter's tape and a Sharpie. You know, it doesn't have to be fancy. It just has to work for your family.
You know, it's I think two of those great tips are the filter. I know that my wife and I downsized about 1.5 years ago, and at the other house I had plenty of room. So as a realtor, people are just like you know, no matter what your industry is, you go to conferences, enough classes, supported by other people.
Freebies.
They're always giving you freebies, right? And
yes.
And I mean, I've had to, one, discipline myself not to take the freebie. Right? Do I have enough of them at the house? That's the question. But when we downsized, I donated to a school an entire case of different notepads and sticky pads, and you know, because I figured teachers could use them. What I should have kept was the 200 mini bottles of hand sanitizer, but who could have predicted, right? Who could have known? I was sick of them everywhere, so we got rid of them, donated them. The other thing is the 1 in, 1 out rule does take some discipline, does take some work. I want to shift a little bit here. You have the deal of the day, and we're getting ready to run out of time. I did want to ask, you know, let's talk about professionally in your services. You've given us some great do-it-ourselves projects, but you have the deal of the day. Let's talk about the deal of the day, because I promised people I'd ask you about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So right now, since I'm not able to work with people in person, I really invite you to give me a call, email me, and we can set up a free consultation where we can discuss your space, and I can offer you some tips and suggestions to get you on your road to getting organized. You know, it's really breaking my heart that I can't work with people in person. So this is just as much for me as it is for you. Please call me. I miss my work so much. Send me a picture, email me a picture, and just say, this is what I'm struggling with, because I crave it, I miss it. So I invite you all to, while we're going through this, while this quarantine's going on and I'm unable to work with you in person, I'd love to get you jump started on that next project. So when this is all over, we can tackle some of the biggest organizing projects in your home.
Look, and I want to encourage you too, that you know, she's given us a lot of do-it-yourself. You also have some videos, don't you, that are available for free for a limited time?
Yeah, so on my blog, I have listed some are videos, some are pictures, but it's step-by-step how to tackle different organizing projects in your home. I have an extensive decluttering blog that's really good to understand what you can donate, what you can't donate, different donation resources that are in our community in Lake County. We have one of the best counties for recycling, which is super cool.
We do.
So yeah, all sorts of different stuff on there, and lots of resources. So I invite you to check it out. And always, I'm completely available. If you guys have questions, feel free to email me, and I would be happy to answer them.
And we really appreciate that. And again, I wanted to encourage people, try some of these do-it-yourself projects. Obviously we all can't do it alone. Sometimes, especially for going through your house can be weird because you're going to come across stuff you have emotional attachment to. And it helps sometimes if you don't want your spouse to do it, because then they're to blame, having a professional from outside who's objective. And again, Alicia, you have a counseling background, so you're a little more sensitive maybe. One of the things that irritates me about most designers and organizers, they want to come tell you what they know. I don't want you to design my house to your taste, right? It's got to be to my taste if it's going to stay and be kept taken care of, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So, and I will encourage people that if you work with me to list your home, there's an opportunity to work with Alicia for free. So reach out if you're thinking of selling your home. Reach out to me. Organizing your home for sale is one of the most important things you can do. Homes. It's just truth. Homes that are clean and organized get better offers. They just do, because people can see more of the home and they're not wondering what's wrong. And it helps get a lot of people don't realize this. Appraisals are higher for homes that are clean and well organized. Okay, because it says something about the way somebody took care of a home. Appraisers are human and it affects them too. Alicia, thank you for joining us. What's next? Do you have any final thoughts?
Oh gosh, I'm just praying that this is all over soon. But I am continuing to just try to connect to people in my community. So if you've got an organizing project that you want to get started and you just need a little guidance, please reach out. There's a lot that we can do virtually, just like you and I are talking today, where I can help coach you through that process, especially decluttering, which is very much just having me in the room, but instead of me physically being there, I'm on your phone, I'm on your iPad. And helping coach you through that process. So if you're stuck at home and you want to get started on a bigger project, we can definitely do it virtually as well.
And I can tell you too, Alicia works in the professional setting in offices. She can help you streamline maybe just your own personal cubicle or your entire office at work, commercial spaces. So do not discount. Don't just think of her as the home organizing lady. She is an organizer, declutterer, stager. So let's see. Oh, finally, tell people how they get in touch with you.
Yeah, so you can reach me at tryorganizing@gmail.com. You can connect with me on my Facebook page, which is just Try Organizing. I'm also on Instagram, which is Try Organizing. My website, you can subscribe there. You can send me a message as well. So the options are endless, and I promise I will be getting back to you right away because I am itching to work with people.
This is true. The only time Alicia didn't respond right away, she was vacuuming and didn't know she got the call, and she got back to me in like 30 minutes anyway. So,
all right.
Well, Alicia,
is like so much cleaning going on in my house. I'm just needing something to do.
Alicia, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate you. We are going to go to commercial break. Alicia's been a great guest. I want to thank you. Again, always welcome here on the show. I'm sure we'll bring you back when this is all over to talk about maybe organizing some other spaces in our home.
That sounds wonderful.
Don't go away. In a minute, Joe's final thoughts and Cup of Joe. Talk to you in a bit.
Joe Knows South Lake would like to thank the following sponsors.
The best things in life aren't items we can grab and hold. They are the moments that grab and hold us. Moments that captivate us, inspire us, and enrich us. Moments that bring joy, strength, and peace. At Sing Insurance and Financial Services, we help you to treasure these times by being there when life's most difficult moments arise. Through our services, you will find independence, flexibility, health, and security that will prosper and protect your life. Whether you are driving that new car, buying that new home, opening that new business, or building a new family, we provide you the peace of mind and freedom to enjoy life's best things. Your next moment is waiting. Are you ready?
Joe Knows South Lake would like to thank the following sponsors.
And welcome back. It's so good to have my friend Alicia. She was absolutely amazing. I really, really appreciate her, and I want to thank her. You know, Alicia's one of those cool people you get to meet and have in your life. That, of course, me, I think everybody is like that. But Alicia brings a special flavor because of her background as a professional athlete. She has a lot of patience, so she's really, really worth working with. Let's see. Cup of Joe. Look, this thing is getting old. This COVID thing. The lockdown is getting old. Being around the same four walls is getting old. I love my wife to death, but, you know, 24/7 around each other, let's face it, you're probably getting sick of your family. And because of that, it's easy to get depressed. It's easy to get frustrated and angry. I want to encourage you. Something like this, there's only one way to get through it, and that's to put one foot in front of the other. You know, I was jogging yesterday, and it was a part of my training that I'm trying to increase and stay healthy. And first time I'd run 20 minutes solid, and I was really proud of it. But you know, I determined to run 20 minutes solid to get to the end. But at 15, it really hurt. You know, I might have jogged a little slower on the back half than on the front half, but the only way to get through it was to put one foot in front of the other and keep moving forward. And sometimes, some days, you got to do that. Just put one foot in front of the other. This gets back to everything I've been telling you. It's one day at a time. Sometimes it's one moment at a time. Don't pop off to your spouse. Just remind yourself, you're going to get through this one step at a time. Just take the next step. That's all you got to do, is just take the next step. Because the next step leads to another step, leads to another step. There's an old saying that says the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a step. So I want to encourage you today that as you start thinking about this, and as the government people, the people in charge and in authority work out whatever your situation is, whether you're employed or unemployed, just put one foot in front of the other. Whether you own a business that's struggling because of this, or you're secure because you get a pension and Social Security, just put one foot in front of the other. If you're worried about your health and you're wearing a mask everywhere, just put one foot in front of the other. You won't regret it. It will get you through. And on the other side, you'll know the next time you have a problem, all you have to do, put one foot in front of the other. That's it for Cup of Joe. I would like to say thank you once again for Alicia Kaye at Try Organizing. Reach out to her. She was an amazing guest. If you know somebody that should be a guest on Joe Knows South Lake, I would love to speak to them. Please, I'm sure Jay is putting my information up as we speak. And maybe he's not. Maybe he can't in this particular technology. You can reach me at onejoeknows@gmail.com or at 352-360-8387. I would love to hear from you. I'd love to speak to anybody you know who could be here. I am still looking for a teacher and a parent and or student combination to talk about the transition from a bricks and mortar school to distance learning. What are their challenges? Let me know. Shoot me their info and I'll reach out to them. Also, tomorrow we will be talking to Chief David Ezell, Fire Chief of the Claremont Fire Department. We're going to talk about COVID, the first responders, and some of the things that he's seeing. This will be an important update. You will be able to find us on Facebook tomorrow. We'll be doing a Facebook Live with him. Please tune in. This will be important information for you to have. Finally, as Alicia's been doing, using her greatness to bring out greatness in others and change lives, you have greatness in you, and you can use it to bring out the greatness in others and change their lives. Touch a life, you will change the world. You may never see the change, but it will change nonetheless. This has been Joe Carlisle and Alicia Kaye on Joe Knows South Lake. I will see you tomorrow at the fire station, and I love you. Bye-bye.
My name is Joe. 20 years ago, my wife and I moved to Lake County with our 4 young children and settled down. In that time, we've worked, worshiped, played, and raised our family. Today, I've met the people and discovered the businesses and organizations that make up a vibrant, dynamic community. Join us as we share with you what makes South Lake great. I'm Joe, and Joe knows South Lake.